Howdy, folks. Starla here from Stellar Dynamics Solutions, helping you learn how Microsoft Dynamics Business Central can help your organization reach its full potential. I think most of us will agree that one of the keys to success for any business is knowing who your customers are, what they need, and what's most important to them. But once you know that, what do you do with the information? And more importantly, how do you store it in a way that's both meaningful and accessible throughout your entire organization, from supply chain to warehousing, customer service, and sales? So glad you asked, because we're going to talk about the customer card in Business Central today and some of the cool functions and fields that are available to help you better navigate building your customer relationship. For example, how many manufacturers have customers who would love to order products based on their own internal item number rather than the item number that you set up in your system as the manufacturer? That's quite the dilemma, but Business Central solves that very well with the item cross-reference table. So we're going to review that as well as some of the other fields that are available to you out of box. Stay tuned.
All right, folks, so we are looking at the customer card in Dynamics Business Central, and we will be working with Cronus data today. If you've seen the test nav or Business Central companies in the past, Cronus is just test data that Microsoft gives so that we can kind of find meaning to some of the fields if we have data, populated in them. So as you can see here in the ribbon, we have lots of options, and each of these will take you to either a document that you can view or create, or a table that stores information pertinent to the customer. If you have approvals set up, you can get to those here, create workflows specific to the customer. You can look at pricing that is customer specific as well. I made up this line entry here that correlates the sell price for this item based on 100 pieces. And if the customer hits this criteria here and the order was submitted within these dates, then they'll qualify for this $100 unit price. You can also set up custom pricing here if you're running a campaign or some sort of promotion or something like that. So talking about the general tab here, and I guess really quick, let me take a slight side note and talk about the page itself, and just note that everything here is customizable for the most part. The panes on the right hand side, you can add or remove data as you see fit. You can also add and remove fields from each of these tabs here. These main headers are called tabs. So you can either expand or contract them. And then within each tab, you can show less or show more. And I prefer to start with an expanded view of whatever document I'm looking at, because I prefer to kind of see everything that's at play all at once. But if for you prefer to see a limited view, less noise, you can certainly do that. And also you can customize which fields are available to you when you're using the show less view. So you're not restricted to only use these fields. You can pick and choose there as well. So getting back to the general tab, starting with the number for the customer card, you can choose to, within your number assignment series, you can choose to either let Business Central automatically generate a customer number for you, or you can choose to manually populate or manually create your customer number. The clients I've worked with in the past have chosen to go with a manual assignment, because then they can type in a customer's phone number or some other meaningful information here that works well for their organizational structure as well. So just basic financial data here. You also have the option to block an account from being able to ship or invoice if you're having some sort of accounts receivable aging issue, for example. You can assign a specific salesperson to work on a particular customer account. Next up, we have address and contact information. So very straightforward here. I don't feel like that needs an explanation. However, I will say that for your sales documents, this contact information, it's what's going to auto-populate. And on that note, pretty much all the data that you see in these headers and these tabs are also referred to as headers when you're looking at documents within Business Central. So like a sales document, sales order, sales invoice, that sort of thing. Um, this information is going to pre-populate a lot of the header fields for you. That's a great efficiency gain, with the exception of the sales order, in my opinion. If you're operating in a dropship environment, more often than not, the ship to address that you're going to utilize is not going to be your customer ship to address if you're drop shipping. So in some cases, customers will customize the tool so that it doesn't default to your customer's billing information as a ship to, because that doesn't work out so well. On the invoicing tab, again, self-explanatory. You can set up tax liabilities and tax area codes. I want to call attention to posting groups here, general business posting group, and also the customer posting group. This is really helpful for financials and for reporting and tracking. You have the ability to dictate which general business posting group or which ledger account this customer's sales activity will hit. And then also you have the ability to dictate which sales channel or market group this customer's activity will hit. So within payments as well, you can assign payment terms. One thing I wanted to note also is with all of these drop down menus here, you have options that are available out of the box, but you also can add your own setups within the system as well. You can also remove some of the out of box setups if you feel like they're not useful for you. The shipping tab, you will have the ability to create unique ship to codes. So recall what I was saying about being in a drop ship environment. You can set up unique ship to codes for your customer and either assign one as the default if most or all of their shipping activity will end up at the same destination, or you can choose to leave it blank, and then from the sales order itself or sales invoice, whichever document you're working with, you can select a ship to code from there on a case-by-case basis. Location code, kind of same thing. If one of your warehouses, if you operate multiple warehouses, is going to ship this customer's orders, you can set a default location code that will pass to the sales order. Also here, payment terms for shipping, third party or prepaid if it's going to ship on your shipping account as the manufacturer or supplier. Also, one really cool feature is a base calendar, a customizable base calendar that is specific to this customer. So within Business Central, you have a base calendar which regulates the organization's working hours and days of the week, etc. However, if your customer has holiday closures that you want to respect, you can create a custom calendar for them as well. Within the statistics section, it's again more financial data, also pulling in some Power BI tables and reporting here. We'll talk more about Power BI in a separate video, but very, very cool, robust reporting features available within Power BI. Many out-of-box reports are already created for you as well, so you can just kind of plug and play with your own data. And so these last tabs are only going to come into play if you have extensions installed. So these three would be Lanham's Demand Planning, Lanham's eShip, and Lanham's EDI products are installed for the version of the software that I am using. So here again, we have lots of different options that we can kind of play with specific to the customer. Let me get to the customer cross-reference that I was speaking to earlier. So I just set up some dummy information here, but this cross-reference number is the customer or your customer's item number that they have set up in their system. And this is the basis by which they would like to place their order. This item number here is your item number that lives in the Business Central item list. So all of these are quote unquote your items. And so your customer's item number is cross-referencing to the Business Central equivalent. You can also use variant codes in the cross-reference table and unique units of measure. If you have more than one unit of measure set up for this item, you can either choose the default or if your customer wants to order on some other basis, you can set that up here as well. And when you're creating a sales document, the conversion will happen automatically on the sales line. So that's really nice. And then the description field here, you can either enter something unique to your customer, or you can choose the out-of-box item description, which is here. So that is pretty much a wrap of the customer card. This was just intended to be a brief overview to kind of give you an idea of the functionality available to you. But please send me a message. Check me out on LinkedIn. Leave a comment, and I will check back with you guys later and try to answer some of your questions if you have any. But do check back again as well for other videos coming in the near future.